welcome back to Dear Jesus, the podcast where we speak candidly to our Heavenly Father. We're going to jump right into it because I am literally going through this right now, and it's a season that I feel like I've been navigating for like 2 years now. Um, and I think this podcast is literally going to be a reminder, just something that I need. Yeah, this is definitely going to be something that I will look back, listen to, and just be like, "Ugh, if he said it, he will do it." You know? If he said it, I believe it. If he said it, he will do it. All the things in between because we serve a God of miracles. So, this episode is about changing seasons, closing doors, and just kind of like moving on. Right now, I feel like I'm just going through that season, just in life in general. So much has changed over the past 365 days of my life, where like I went through extreme highs and extreme lows, questioning the Lord, just literally like, Lord, why am I going through this right now? Or can this season be done? Like, I want something new. And those that wait on the Lord will renew their strength. They will mount on wings like eagles and soar. And like just trying to remember that and keep that at the front of my head is refining. Okay. It is literally like, it's so easy to tell somebody, like, pray about it. I'll be praying for you. I know it's easier said than done, but know that like the Lord is here. And then when you're going through it and somebody tells you that, you're like, I know. Like, I know he's got me. I know. And I shouldn't be worried about this, but it's so much, like, literally so much easier said than done. Like, ooh. And like, there are moments, honestly, every single time I'm worried about a situation, once the situation is done, I literally feel foolish for ever doubting him because I'm like, I look back at your track record and you have proven to me time and time and time again and again and again that you are faithful, that you are a God of your word. You know what? We're actually like, there's no script, but like, this isn't even what I wanted to talk about. But the other day, I was um just trying to make a huge decision. Still trying to make this huge decision and I was like, but this, Lord, but that, like literally thinking of all the worst case scenarios. Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? I don't have this. I don't have that. And as I was sitting there in my literal doubt, the Holy Spirit dropped Hebrews 11 on me. Now, I've read the book of Hebrews maybe once, like fully. And it wasn't Hebrews 11 that stuck out to me, which I truly think it should have been because when I tell you guys, this, like, literally the whole theme of this chapter is faith in action. But all I can, like, I've literally highlighted it, like, in blue every single time. The amount of times that by faith is said, and every single time he says by faith, he literally pulls up the Lord's track record of how he has pulled through for somebody stepping out on their father's business by faith. So here, I'm not going to read the whole chapter, but I will read every name and every story will come into your head. By faith, we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. By faith, Abel brought God a better offering than Cain did. By faith, Enoch was taken from this life so that he did not have to experience death. By faith, Noah, when warned about things not yet seen, in holy fear built an ark to save his family. And without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him. By faith, Abraham, when God tested him, offered Isaac as a sacrifice. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau in regard to their future. By faith, when Jacob was dying, blessed each of Joseph's sons. By faith, Joseph, when his end was near, spoke about the exodus of the Israelites from Egypt when gave instructions concerning the burial of his bones. By faith, Moses' fathers hid him for 3 months after he was born because they saw he was no ordinary child. By faith, Moses, when he had grown up, refused to be known as the son of Pharaoh's daughter. By faith, the people passed through the Red Sea on dry land. By faith, the prostitute Rahab, because she welcomed the spies, was not killed with those who were disobedient. These were all commended for their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised, since God had planned something better for us, that only together with us they would be made perfect. Y'all, when I tell you, when I read this chapter, I crumbled. Because at that moment, as I'm sitting there in all my questions and all my doubt and all my what ifs, but I can't, but I. In Exodus, when God reveals himself to Moses, he says, I am that I am, point blank, period. So every time we say I am strong. I am able. Like, I literally just think about, like, I'm speaking about me, but it's Christ in me. So even now, like whenever I speak, I literally have to be mindful when I say I am tired. Like, no, I'm feeling tired. It's little things in your vocabulary that you change because we hold life and death in our tongue. This episode is about new beginnings and just trusting that the Lord has shut a door in a season for a reason. That rhymed and I loved it. But just remembering that, like, the Lord wouldn't lead you anywhere just to forsake you. He's brought us too far to give up now, to ever think that He wouldn't come through for us. Like, we serve a God of immeasurably more than we could ask or imagine. There are things that we're asking Him for, and He's like, daughter, son, like, I have so much more for you if you would just let go of this right now, or if you would just open your hand and receive what I have for you. We always have this timeline or this vision of what we want our life to look like at a specific time in our life. Like, I remember when my dad would make me so upset and I tell him that I was moving out at 16. I touched 16 and I said, I actually can't even buy my own lunch. Dad, can I have lunch money? I'm not going nowhere. To the point where I told him I'm not leaving his house now till I get married. Like, it's like the Lord orders our footsteps in such a particular way that when we end up getting to where he wants us to be in that point in time, we're like, wow, I actually never could have imagined my life at like me in this moment, in this like, what you end up looking back and realizing what you were asking for was far too small for the God that we serve. Like, he has such huge plans for us, and if we would surrender our plans, surrender our motives. Proverbs 19 literally tells us, many are the plans in a person's heart, but it's the Lord's purpose that prevails. And we really need to remember that. Like, we can have all the things planned. We want to have kids at 25 and we want to have a house by this age and do all that. When the Lord has something so much better for us, or when we look back, we'll be like, wow, like, Lord, I know it didn't go as I planned, but it went as you planned. And I thank you for these moments that I learned, whatever it is that I had to learn in that season that was just rough. If it's one thing now that I've learned is that when I go through something, I literally just need to remove myself for a couple seconds and just be like, there's a reason. I don't know the reason why, but I know that I'm not going through whatever it is that I'm going through right now for no reason. There is a reason. And if it takes 5 years for me to figure out the reason that I went through this, let it take 5 years, Lord, as long as you get the glory at the end of this, that is all that matters to me. Because every single thing that we have gone through, when we share the situation afterwards of what trials and tribulations we went through, is a testament and a testimony to the goodness of God, that He kept us through all of it. Because It's never easy. One, he never told us it was going to be easy. And two, all he asked for us was to trust in the Lord and lean not on our own understanding because we understand nothing. We understand absolutely nothing until he allows us to understand what it is. And that is usually after we go through the situation. Like, we'll be going through heartbreak. We cannot fathom why our heart is broken right now until we reach a new season and we're like, yeah, I had to go through that to lead me to this greener pasture, to lead me to this garden of roses, or to teach me how to deal with something to then be that shoulder for somebody else to lean on because I've already gone through it. There are so many reasons as to why the Lord will put us through things that we don't understand in the moment, but we understand it later. My favorite book in the Bible is Ecclesiastes because it is such a mind tug just to like think about how everything in this life is literally vanity. And when you don't have a purpose to live, it's very like, ah, I'm just here for the vibes. But in regards to this topic, Ecclesiastes 3. This may be something that many of you have heard, but I just love it because it is so true when it comes to closed doors. I had a huge perspective change recently about closed doors, and I used to be a person that was like, no, I need that door open yesterday. You're going to open that door because I don't know why you think that you can shut this door on me. But 99.9% of, honestly, 100% of the doors that close for a reason. It's for a season, and a better door will open up. It might not be immediately after, but a better door always opens up because the Lord knows. Whew, sorry, what? I'm not gonna sit up here and cry every episode. Oh my goodness. This perspective shift also shifted my perspective on the Lord and how much He loves me. It's just like our own parents, or even sometimes me, like anybody with their friends. You wouldn't want your friends somewhere that one, isn't a place that they will excel or where their gifts can be used or will be used. And the Lord closes doors to protect us, our hearts, because He knows that something ahead, He knows that we will get not stuck, but dwell in this place, although He's given us the advancement to move and miss out on another opportunity that He has for us in a place where we need to be. I've been the type of person that loves to kick down a door or at least tries to and gets frustrated when the door doesn't open. But my perspective shift was that he shut the door for a reason. And just the same way that he opens a door and no man can close it, when he closes a door, no man can open it. And recently I've been thanking him for the closed doors, even though in the moment I tell you tears fall from my face like nobody's business. It's giving Niagara Falls. But when you sit back and really think about the closed door, move on, not even move on completely from the season, but like kind of just continue on. He opens your eyes as to why that door was closed. And let me tell you, he has proven to me time and time again that when that door shuts, I need to leave it shut. There are moments where I try to kick it open. I do, because I truly believe that this is where I'm supposed to be. But the Lord slams it shut and he said, move on. Like he continuously tells me to move on. And for some reason, there are some situations that I just refuse to move from. And it hurts me in the long run. It really, really does. But Ecclesiastes 3, I'll read verse 1 to 8. It says, there is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the sun, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak. He's really working on me with that one. A time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. There is literally a time for everything. It's just like when you're in a meeting, maybe, or you're in a classroom, and your teacher will tell you there's a time and a place. Or when you want to address something with somebody, and the place that you're at is just not the place to do it. There is a time and a place for everything underneath the sun. And I love that, like, this is something that we can look back on and know that it was in the word. Like, there's a time to be born and there's a time to die. There's a time to scatter stones and there's a time to bury, then there's a time to gather them. There's a time to be silent and there's a time to speak. Like, there's a time to search and there's a time to give up. And that's not give up on a dream or give up on something that you know the Lord has placed on you. It's a time to let go and let God, literally. Like, it's not that you're letting go of it, give up, throw your hands up, throw in the towel. That's not what this means. It means there's a time where, oh, I'm about to get into my favorite story in the Bible, but actually, no, not, but I'm gonna get into my favorite story in the Bible. My favorite story in the Bible is found in Numbers 22 to 24. It's about a king named Balak, the king of Moab, who feared the Israelites because he has heard about all their victories. All their victories, he now fears them. So he summoned somebody named Balaam to curse the Israelites. So he summoned Balaam, and Balaam said, I'm not going to come with you until I consult the Lord about this. And so he consulted the Lord, and the Lord said, do not go because the Israelites are blessed. He ended up going. Hmm. He ended up going, and Balaam's donkey saw an angel of the Lord. And he saw the angel of the Lord 3 times, and Balaam did not see this angel. The third time, just to keep a long story short, but the third time that the donkey saw the angel, they were in such a close, confined hallway, and in front of them was the angel of the Lord, where the donkey got down on its knees, like literally all fours on the ground, and Balaam beat the donkey. And this is my absolute favorite story, because the donkey got on all four of its knees in that narrow hallway because it got to its breaking point. It got to the point where the Lord said, stop and stop it now. And that's when Balaam's eyes were open to the angel of the Lord after beating his donkey. And the donkey looked at him and said, have I ever steered you wrong? How dare you? The Lord ended up allowing him to go. He went, and every time Balak asked Balaam to curse the people of Israel, the only thing that can come out of Balaam's mouth were blessings because the Lord's people were blessed. The Israelites were blessed. Balak was pissed. Balak was not happy because he's like, I'm asking you to curse these people, and all you keep doing is blessing him or blessing them. He would take Balaam to different perspectives to look at the Israelites and curse them and curse them and curse them. And Balaam literally gave him the disclaimer, I am only going to say what the Lord tells me to say. And this is all the Lord is telling me to say. So you can be as angry as you want. Balak offered him money. He was like, this is what the Lord's telling me to say. Sorry about it. But I say all of this to say, we're going to stick with the donkey, that when, as Ecclesiastes says, there's a time to search and there's a time to give up. The Lord, and this is what happened to me, where you get to your wit's end. You get to the point where you're like, I cannot do this without you, Lord. There is nothing I can do in my own strength. I can no longer lean on my understanding. I can no longer pour from an empty cup. I can no longer rely on the fumes that I'm left on. I can't. And that's when you get to the point where you fully surrender and you give up your, I don't know how to put into words, because I guess you give up your flesh and you deny yourself and you surrender to the Lord, because this is all, he is all we need. quite literally. He will fill our cup, fill our bank account, fill everything. When we think that that door is closed and behind the door is everything that we could have imagined, there's usually a brick wall back there. And he's trying to steer us into the doorway where there actually is a garden. A beautiful garden full of roses is where he's really trying to steer us. But we think that there's a beautiful garden behind that door and it's a brick wall. And so I have learned to thank God for the closed doors in past seasons. I'm praying that I can keep it at the front of my head for next seasons because that closed door, that denial, that rejection, it hurts. But we need to grab it. And as, like I said before, it's easier said than done. And this is when community comes in, where you need accountability partners. You need someone that you can rely on prayer for. You need somebody that you know, or not even just one person, a community. And this is why I feel like small groups are so important because I know it can be so intimidating, especially being new at a church, to go and make friends. As young adults, youth, like it's not the easiest thing. But having those mentors, having a pastor, making sure that you have the community that can hold you accountable, pray for you, pray with you. It's so important when it comes to walking with the Lord because this is a walk that He hasn't called us to one do alone and one that He told us won't be easy. So I leave this with you. Challenge yourself this week, this year of 2025, to look at those closed doors not as missed opportunities, but as redirection, re-guidance, and just turn to the Lord. Pray, fast, spend time in His Word, and learn His voice. That is one thing that I have learned to do over the past 2 years, 2.5, almost 3 years at this point. When you don't know His voice, you will mistaken everything else for it. And even though it sounds like it could be in the Bible, because I'll give this as an example. We love to say money is the root of all evil, but it's not that money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. And if we would just read our Bible, we would know that that's what it is. And so, learning His voice, also pray for discernment because it's one thing to have a community, and then it's another thing to have an unhealthy spiritual community. So just leaning into that and just asking the Lord to open your eyes, drop the scales from your eyes, and rely on Him for all that you need. I know that it might be intimidating, but there are so many people that you can reach out to. You can reach out to me. I'm just a regular girl. So I just love having conversations about Jesus, honestly. So it is something that I adore studying the Bible, even if it's like just scripture that somebody needs. Like it's always readily available in His Word through a friend, through someone. So I challenge you guys this week to just this year, not this week, I challenge you guys this year to shift your perspective on a closed door because closed doors hold blessings. Point blank, period. That's all I got for y'all today. You already know what it is. Dear Jesus, the podcast, and I'll see y'all next week.